The Nintendo Switch 2 has been out for a few weeks, and I think it's finally time I give you guys a little backstory as to what made me want the console, as well as give you guys a little rundown on how I was able to get one at launch. To give you a little rundown as to why I wanted a Switch 2, I essentially wanted to rejuvenate my love for video games. As over the last few years, I found myself just not really interested in a lot of the stuff that Nintendo was putting out, as well as just playing video games in general. My attention span, I think, is just absolutely fried thanks to things like TikTok and substance abuse. I've been sober for 2 years now, for context, but during a lot of that, I just found it really hard to focus, and I still suffer from that a whole bunch. So I wanted to buy this console as a way to give myself more of an incentive to try video games again. As I've always been a Nintendo fan, I have a history of buying things like the Wii U in 2013. That pretty much goes to show that I'm a real Nintendo fan. I bought a Wii U. I've got a massive amiibo collection, a massive collection of Nintendo games, and at least 80% of those games are games that I've either never touched or touched just a little bit, but didn't get very far before I put it down and went to do something else, and then just never picked the game back up. My mind works in a very out of sight, out of mind way, and I feel like I've suffered from that forever. When the console was announced in January via a video they shadow dropped on YouTube, I was not prepared, but I can say for sure that I was interested. I hadn't really played much of my Switch since 2020 or 2021. I played a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Smash Bros. Ultimate when they came out, and I dabbled for 2 months in Animal Crossing New Horizons before getting really annoyed of the tedious crafting. A lot of Nintendo's new titles over the last 5 years I just don't own, or I haven't played them. So with the announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2 and a new Mario Kart for the first time in almost 11 years at that point, I was more than interested. I was actually very intrigued by this. And since I hadn't seen my friends that I made at the Nintendo events in a while, I decided to go to watch the Nintendo Direct at the Nintendo store in New York City. I did just that, and the video now has 42,000 views. So if you've come from that video, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Which, by the way, if you've seen that and you haven't seen the before and after video I made, you should totally watch that. Then it came to pre-ordering the console. Now, the pre-orders were delayed because of real-world events, but when they finally went up, I was unfortunately not too prepared. I have a history of suffering from online pre-orders, and honestly, I just didn't really feel like doing it this time. Plus, my allergies decided to go up to an 11 that night, and I had a very hard time sleeping. So I was tired by like 9 p.m. and wanted to just go to bed. So when the pre-orders went up at midnight, I just didn't bother. Thankfully, some of my friends were able to get pre-orders. I'm very grateful that they were able to do that. And for me, I woke up the next morning and I made the decision that I was gonna try and get myself a pre-order. My initial thought was I'll just decide to get one at the midnight release at Nintendo New York, but that was not a guarantee because of their reservation system. We'll talk about that in just a minute. If I was gonna pre-order this thing, I wanted to do it in person, so I decided to go to my local GameStop, and I did just that. The store opened at 10 a.m., and I got to the store a little after 8 a.m., and I brought a chair because I have a history of doing campouts at the Nintendo store. I knew I was gonna be sitting there for a while. I figured I might as well make myself comfortable. So I sat in a chair for a few hours, and then finally the line started to move. I made a couple friends, and after waiting a little over 2 hours, and then waiting at least another 45 minutes after the store opened because they only wanted 2 people in the store at the same time, I was finally able to get a pre-order on the Nintendo Switch 2. But I did play it very safe. I decided I only wanted to pre-order the base unit and nothing else. I didn't pre-order a copy of Mario Kart World, I didn't pre-order any controllers or other accessories, and I did not pre-order the bundle because I'm a physical media collector for life. If I was gonna get a copy of Mario Kart World, I was gonna get it physically. Although I pre-ordered this Nintendo Switch 2 at GameStop, I knew for a fact that I wanted to be at the midnight release at the Nintendo store in New York City. And this GameStop pre-order was going to be my way of getting the Switch 2 if my Nintendo New York plan did not go to plan. So I kept the receipt in my car, and I decided to wait it out until the reservations were made available for the Switch 2 console at Nintendo New York. Here's a little history as to how Nintendo has made their products available at release at Nintendo New York over the last few years. At the Nintendo stores, in order to draw away large crowds, Nintendo decided to introduce a reservation system that they dubbed the Warp Pipe Pass. And I actually had no idea what this thing was until I went to the midnight launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where going there, I learned I was not going to be able to buy the game at midnight. In order to be able to get this game, I would have had to make a reservation on the Nintendo website and gotten a QR code that they would scan, and then I'd be able to walk in the store at the designated time. So because of this, I kind of just ended up going for the vibe and seeing friends of mine. And I made a lot of new friends there too. When it came to Tears of the Kingdom, I was not able to get one, but I ended up getting a 10 a.m. pass from RS Gabe for the next day, so shout out to Gabe for that. Pikmin 4 did not have a pass system as they were not expecting large crowds for that one, although I was the third in line to get it, so that was pretty cool. And as for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I was actually able to get a Midnight Warp Pipe Pass. In fact, I was among the first 30 or so people to actually get the game. That was pretty cool. I got a special colored wristband for that too. That was probably my favorite launch event that I've been to because of the interactiveness of it, as well as the great turnout. That was overall just an incredible time. And that was the last Nintendo Store event I had went to for a while. I didn't go to any in 2024. So when it came time for the Switch 2, I wanted to make sure I made the most out of this experience, especially because I had friends of mine that were waiting out as long as 2 months for the system. Of course, you guys probably already know about Chicken Dog waiting out 2 months for the Switch 2 at Nintendo New York. I made videos alongside him, visiting him on the line. As for the Warp Pipe Pass situation, Nintendo made the announcement, and by that point, they had also opened another store in the US. They had just opened their store in San Francisco. So from the get-go, they had the idea of Warp Pipe Passes for that store. They were bringing it along to them too. They had it so when the store opened that weekend, you needed to have a Warp Pipe Pass in order to even enter the store because of the large crowd situation they would have had otherwise. I understand the idea of a Warp Pipe Pass, but even after the pandemic, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal to even have it. I kind of despise the fact that they have it set up this way, but I'm also not too surprised that they never just took it away. It worked so well for them when they started it, so why stop now? Now, typically when these Warp Pipe Passes would go up, the Nintendo Store accounts would make an announcement saying what date they would go up and the time, and you just had to be ready for when they went up. And if you got one, you got one. If you didn't, you were shit out of luck. However, they decided that at noon the next day after making the announcement that they would have Warp Pipe Passes, they were just gonna shadow drop the Warp Pipe Passes. So unfortunately, there were a lot of people that just didn't even see this happen, and they completely missed out. I was actually in a very lucky circumstance when this happened. You see, that day, my girlfriend and I were set to go to a James Bay concert in Brooklyn, and before we were going to this concert, we were planning to make a stop at Nintendo New York, not only to visit my friend Chicken Dog, but also my friend Toasty, who was finally in New York. He was visiting from Vancouver to camp out alongside Chicken Dog every day until the release, from middle of May up until the release day. As the passes had been shadow dropped, I was pulling into a parking spot to go get bagels. And because of the fact that they shadow dropped, I was able to get a minute to park and then immediately hop on the Nintendo website to let it just buffer, and I was somehow still able to get one. I don't know how I pulled it off, but I think because of the fact they shadow dropped it, it might have worked in my favor. And with that, I ended up with a Midnight Warp Pipe Pass, and I was able to get into the Nintendo Store and buy myself a Nintendo Switch 2 at the midnight release. Not only was this my first time having a midnight pass for a big, huge event like this, but also this was my first time buying a home console on release. And so far with the console, I've been enjoying Mario Kart World a bunch, and I even started a new save on Animal Crossing New Horizons because I actually lent my first Switch to my girlfriend. She's obsessed with Animal Crossing New Horizons. She loves playing it. She's a bit more keen on the crafting stuff because she didn't play things like New Leaf prior, so this is all new to her. And I decided by playing the game alongside her, I think I could actually enjoy it a lot more. So over the last week, I've been doing that with her, and so far I've been having a lot of fun. I haven't really had the chance to test out other games yet, but I am looking forward to doing so in the coming months. I'm also really hyped for Donkey Kong Bonanza after watching that Nintendo Direct, and Kirby Air Riders, of course I'm excited for that. Now, you might be wondering what happened to that contingency pre-order I did at GameStop. Well, since it was a backup plan and I didn't want to just cancel it, I decided that I would give it to a friend. Now, I initially asked Anthony, but he wasn't able to get the funds ready in time, so I ended up giving it to my friends Jamie and Mike. Let's see how that went. All right, this is Mike and Jamie. I'm helping them out get a Switch 2 today. They get my extra pre-order. You're welcome. Congratulations. How we feeling?
It's gonna take me all night to set this up.
Honestly, it won't. Are you transferring your old Switch?
No.
No? It's gonna be just like that.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Have a good one, thank you. After we picked up their Switch 2, we went to Outback Steakhouse for dinner and called it a night after that. We had a really good time though. From what they've told me, they've really enjoyed the Switch 2 so far, and they're really grateful that I gave them this opportunity, as I wasn't even sure if it was even going to be possible to get a Switch 2 if you hadn't pre-ordered one. But it seems like Nintendo was actually really prepared this time. They had pretty much full stock everywhere, at least in the first day or two. Like, if you hadn't pre-ordered one, there was a chance you could walk into a Target or a Best Buy and you'd be able to walk in and buy one. There also have been plenty of restocks over the last few weeks, so there are a lot of people who have been getting their hands on them. I'm sure that more people will be buying one as soon as there are more games to be released on it. Right now, the only Nintendo first-party title out is Mario Kart World, aside from the Switch 2 editions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But if you're not like a massive fan of those games, they probably don't really appeal to you. Now, since I'm a Switch Online Plus expansion pack member, I was actually able to get those upgrades for free, and I haven't really played those games really, so this will actually be a great way to really integrate that, and I'll be able to play them in 4K, which is insane. So yeah, overall, I had a really good experience getting a Switch 2. I know some people were unlucky, unfortunately, but I gotta say I'm really grateful I was able to get one, and so far I've been having a lot of fun with it. We'll see how the next few years turn out in regards to my commitment to playing the Switch 2, but I think this is going to give me a great opportunity to pick up a lot of games I missed out on, as it is compatible with pretty much every Switch 1 game except for a couple games having startup issues. Also, Nintendo Labo is not compatible, but I don't have that anyway, so it's fine. But I think this will actually be really great for me, and I'd like to bring you guys along for the journey as well. You might have seen that I actually made a video a few months ago talking about how I wanted to do live streaming again in order to give myself a reason to play through single player games and have audience interaction. I think that would have helped me get through them a lot better. But unfortunately, my internet is dog water when it comes to live streaming, so that wasn't going to work out. Hopefully in the future, I can try the whole live streaming thing again. I think it would be very beneficial for me. But for now, I'll have to just keep you guys updated on social media in regards to me playing games. If you have any suggestions for any games you think I should pick up, let me know down in the comments. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as a little rundown story time kind of thing. I'd like to do more of these in the future, so if you have any suggestions, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Shout out to Dark1Up, my one YouTube member. You are the GOAT, my friend. Thank you so much. If you'd like to become a member and join and get exclusive perks, you can hit the join button. You'll get early access to my videos as well as custom emojis and a special role on my Discord server. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and peace out. I'll see you soon.